All right, folks, welcome to the channel. This is Mike Snett. This is the Office for Truth program. So today, as you saw in the title, it says, Stop Serving Debt. And what this video we're going to do is we're going to encourage you about following the Lord and getting out of debt and staying away from debt. You want to see debt as a negative, period. And that's what this video is going to be about. So Proverbs 22:7 says, the borrower servant to lender. Something you've heard a million times. See that yoke behind me? It's kind of behind that little map in between the horns on my wall. It's kind of a decorative thing in this apartment that came furnished, kind of a Western themed place. But that's a yoke. You're putting that on, some of you since you were 18 years old until today. You've had it on for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, 40 years. The Lord has promised us an abundant life. We don't have to borrow money, though, to get stuff. And what I'm going to do here on my channel is I've had some other financial videos, but I'm not going to tell you to borrow money. I'm going to tell you to get out of debt. That means not owe a penny to anybody ever. I'm debt free, and I don't owe a penny to anybody ever. I have my freedom. You can tell me all day long all the stuff you have with debt, but I have freedom. And when I lay down and when I get back up, I got freedom. And then all the money that I make can go to create stuff, savings, every penny that I have. I do multiple jobs trying to bring in income. But because I'm debt free, it all goes to me in my bank account, except for the basic living expenses, which I keep down because that's what happened when I got out of debt. I started to think more about everything I'm doing down to the last penny with my money. People have this mindset that people that borrow money are going to tell you to borrow money. End of story. I'm not going to tell you to borrow money because I don't borrow money. I'm not going to tell you that. But people that borrow money, that's all that they tell you. They tell you to borrow money. And money is what makes the world go around. No doubt about it. It's a tool we need, and it's all through the scriptures. But it's all through the scriptures of how to be wise with money. And our number one goal as we're following the Lord is to care for people. And you know, Jesus himself said, a man's life doesn't consist in the abundance of his possessions. The Lord says he knows all the things that we need before we even ask him. He's going to take care of us. But when you have that mentality, as a lot of people do, is that the only way I can get something is to borrow money. That's the whole problem. When you borrow money, you're cutting off anything the Lord can do in your life, any kind of blessings, any kind of thing ever. Why? Because you went to the bank. You went to other people to get the stuff because you want the stuff now, but you didn't seek the Lord on what kind of life he's going to give you. You went to those people. So the idea that you're praying to the Lord about him to help you pay back the debts, and that you're having life in that because you went to other people's money, as the financial folks talk about it. But you didn't go to God's money. I'm going to use God's money, and I'm going to be blessed. That's what I'm going to stick with. The mindset of the Lord. So the idea as Christians is we're going to lean into the Lord. That's how we're going to get stuff. See, I have a place to live too. I have a car to drive too. My car's paid for. It's got a brand new engine in it. It was a used car I got from a guy at work, but it's got a brand new engine. I'm just getting that thing broke in. I'm being blessed with that car. That car's making me money. I do other stuff with my car. It's making me money because he blessed me. I was riding a bike, saving up money riding a bike. I'm in my 50s riding a bike. So now I have this car that the Lord gave me. And so it's running like a champ. It's paid for. Just got liability insurance. That thing is just running, and it's a blessing to me. See, he just came that out of nowhere. He knew I needed it. I live in South Dakota. It's wintertime. You have to have a car. I rode my bike one winter. I couldn't make it the next one. The Lord's promised an abundant life. See, I want to follow him and I want the abundant life. It's not about borrowing money. See, a lot of you, as I said, you have that yoke on you. You put that on when you're 18 years old. Your parents were screaming at you about, what are you going to do, kid? You better do something, kid. And you were signing on the piece of paper at 18 years old. Because your parents have house payments, your parents have credit cards, your parents have student loans, your friends do, everybody around you does. There's nobody that's ever told you, you don't need to borrow money to have a life. You can go out and earn, save, think, create businesses, do all kinds of stuff. One of the things too is probably the worst people in the money industry are the Christian community. They're the worst people, whether it's the name it and claim it people who are stuffing their pockets off of your money, whether it's the book writing industry who are stuffing their pockets off writing more meaningless, stupid books we don't need, or whether it's worse yet, just the It's what's her name or what's his name at your church, the business folks, who scream and yell about the idea that you can't borrow money. Remember, they can't have their stuff without borrowing money. What about you? I'm going to get everything in my life without borrowing a penny. And the Lord's going to do all kinds of things because I have to trust in Him. I have to be creative. I have to use my brain. I have to think. I have to sit down at my table and write out stuff. I have to think of ideas. What can I do? I don't go to a bank and beg somebody for money, and then when I get it, I lay down in my bed and miserable for decades on end. And so what I want you to do is to get away from the debts, that you find out another way. You pay back the bills. You get out of debt. You do whatever you can to get out of debt. Because when you lay down out of debt, you're going to be 10 times happier than just trying to tread water. You've all seen the economy in just the last year alone with the gas prices, the interest rates on homes, food. Now, is it going to go down where it was? No, it's just going to go down a little bit, then go up, then go down a little bit, then go up. So how do you keep ahead of that? Well, you can't keep ahead of it by borrowing money and borrowing your way out of it. You keep ahead of it because you get out of debt and you don't owe a penny to anybody. You start just throwing money into the bank and saving. You do other jobs. But then what you do is on your downtime, like you've been told a million times on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, news shows, radio programs about what can I create, what kind of business can I do, what kind of skills do I have. Those are the kinds of things that you want to create, and then you just buy the stuff as you go along and you make money. I like Dave Ramsey, and he made all of his money, by the way, folks, by not borrowing a penny. Now you have to be, if you want to be like Dave Ramsey, make a lot of money, here's what you got to do. You got to write a book. He wrote a book and made millions of dollars off of a book. That's how he created his business. He had his system in place. He put it down in a book and started doing seminars. How do you think the rich guy, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, how did he make his money? Well, he made his money because he wrote a book. So you got to get away from all the system in place and start thinking about how can I create something myself to create wealth for myself and my family in the sense of that abundant life, because you're now turning to Christ and the things that He has for you. And I think just the final thought is you don't want that thing behind you around your neck. And then you're trying to put a smile on your face. You're trying to sit there and say everything's okay when it isn't. You're racked in debt and it's killing you and you hate it. Well, all you got to do is, as I've said before, is you just turn off the phone, turn off the televisions. When I say turn off the phone, I mean physically turn the phone off. Don't have it next to you. Get down with a pen and piece of paper. Put your bills out in front of the Lord and start going over with Him. Lord, I want a different life. And He's going to give you that abundant life. I don't care what anybody says. He's not going to work through debt to bless you. That's not in the Scriptures, because you didn't go to Him to get your stuff. You went to the bank. You actually prayed to the Lord that the bank would lend you the money, and then to get yourself into debt. Well, your whole mindset was you knew that He wasn't leading you to debt, but you wanted the stuff so bad, and that the idea all that money can give you. Then you got yourself into debt. So remember, stop serving debt. And the way you do that is you turn over everything to Jesus Christ and you start following Him, and you get out of debt. Any way you can get out of debt, you have to get free. I'm free. I'm debt free. I want to stay free. And I want you to be free too. So again, thanks for watching. This was Mike Stinnett and the Office for Truth.